After an eventful opening round full of action, twists, and surprises, it's clear things are going to be tighter than ever at the top, and there's just a few drivers behind that looking like they could close the gap. Good afternoon, and welcome to round two of the World Monoposto Sim Racing Championship 2024, coming from under lights in Bahrain. My name's Ash Baker, and I'm joined once again by Robin Ciuman. We're in for another interesting afternoon, Robin.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Thank you. Yeah, really looking forward to this one. There's honestly no better way to spend an afternoon than doing this. And yeah, already very excited for what this race has to offer.
Absolutely. And once again, for the second round of the year, if you didn't get up early to catch the Grand Prix racing action, we will cater for your needs this afternoon. As you can see, round two of 14, a finely balanced season, 7 races, a summer break, and then another 7. And after one round, this is how the standings look. In the Drivers' Championship, it was the perfect start for reigning champions Yannis Volborn and Holland Racing Team, a 1-2, with Ruven Meshida, just as he'd managed to split the two cars, getting a costly track limits penalty, meaning he comes home third. A solid start to the season for the Better Julius, 4th and 5th. Lucas Murno was fighting for a top 3 up until an unfortunate late collision. Mark Jordan scoring on his debut and Velocita Virtuale's debut. Tim Houck getting the final points-paying spot for Optinel. Mateus Machado and Tristan Engels so close for Potenza and Kostec to get their first ever points for their respective teams. In the Constructors, as mentioned, the perfect start for Holland Racing Team. They lead over double the points of Better Julia, but Optiminal, Scuderia Cesario, and everyone else, to be fair, will be looking to hunt them down. Both SCMM and Infernal Void Racing started really strongly, but got caught up in a lot of accidents. And Magnum Motorsports, on their debut, were running both drivers in the points at one point, but both retiring from the race, but hoping for a better afternoon today. Now, once again, let's have a look at the weather coming to this afternoon. As always, WMSC issues a forecast for each race based on the statistical data of the location in the respective month and is prepared by neutral persons. And again, it's playing to type. It's a clear night sky for both qualifying and the race itself. Weather will slightly cool down during the race, but nothing untoward, nothing that isn't manageable. So we're expecting no surprises to be thrown up by the weather, at least. So we have about 5 minutes before the competitive session starts. It's qualifying first. If you are new to WMSC this afternoon, we welcome you. Thank you very much. And if you are a returning viewer, thank you very much for coming back. We appreciate it. The structure is simple. Qualifying will start about past. Then it's a 20-minute session. Then there'll be a short break. And then we'll come back for the race. So we're just catching the end of warm-up. Robin, it doesn't feel like it's been 2 weeks since the opening round of the season. It's gone by very quickly, hasn't it?
Yeah, that one has really gone past really quick, and probably we were all still digesting that first round with all of the stuff that happened, all of the chaos that unfolded there, all of the unexpected twists and turns that the first race, the opening race of the season, took. And if today is only half as good as 2 weeks ago, we're still in for a fantastic afternoon. And Lucas Murno, I think, he quite enjoys this track. We have access to the fastest lap set on this server over the practice sessions that the drivers had, and Lucas Murno currently has set the 4th fastest time of all, and this is also the track where he first scored points last year. As he slides into turn 4. Bit of showboating there. Oh, that's yeah. Lap aborted, first bit of commentator's curse. Luckily, it's only practice, so...
Absolutely, just getting their final times in. And you are just seeing a new name on screen as well, very briefly. We saw Gabriel Peckley. We have a couple of substitutes in this afternoon. First of which, Gabriel Peckley for Potenza Esport, of course, coming in for Paolo Willami. It's still an all-Brazilian lineup at Potenza Esport, but Gabriel Peckley, experienced driver, he raced in WMSC 3 and the American Monopasto Championship as well, scoring points in both. Tipped to potentially be a solid top 10 finisher, but he's come in very last minute today, so we'll see how well he does under the circumstances. The other substitute coming in this afternoon is Thomas Rashka for Velocita Virtuale. Mark Jordan, as mentioned in the opening, scored points for his and the team's debut last time out, but unfortunately unable to race this afternoon. So Thomas Rashka is in. He's also their race engineer usually, so not unfamiliar with the surroundings, but his first race in WMSC. So really looking forward to seeing how both these new guys do. Like I say, both their first time in WMSC, but we should have everyone else. We're just kind of trying to wait to see. We're looking like we should have another full grid again this afternoon. At the minute, I think we just had 18 in the server, but I think everyone is just going to be jumping across for the qualifying session to start in a moment.
Yeah, and honestly, this will be very exciting. So last year, most of the races were very, very clean. Melbourne, well, there have been a lot more off moments with the car that has been changed between the end of 2023 and the start of the season. They are a bit less grippy. You can't throw them around the circuits as much anymore. And I think we saw that in the first race. Yeah, I think one of the big learnings from Melbourne is that you have a very, very good opportunity if you just keep your nose clean. I think Mark Jordan is one of the best examples out there because, scoring on debut by just keeping out of trouble towards the end of the race. I think he was involved in a few incidents early on, but later he just kept it on track, and that was enough for a P7 finish.
Absolutely. And there's a few other people hoping to kind of capitalize on promising performances last time out, but maybe not the best results. And we're looking at one of those people now, João Fernando Labau for Magnum Motorsports and teammate Jay Black, both incredible on their debut. And they just didn't get the results in the end. Jay Black having to leave for personal reasons, having to retire the car. I looked back at the stream from last time. We never actually saw what happened to JFL and what caused him to retire. But he ended up out of the race, I believe, from an incident. But both of them were running in the points, both running really well. And it's worth mentioning that Magnum Motorsports have come into the sport, bringing a new engine. So they're an engine supplier as well, and that engine is being used by the top two teams of Holland Racing Team and Optimal. So they've got a decent package under them. Magnum themselves don't have a massive budget, and we spoke to Henry Buckland at the end of the round one stream. He's thinking, okay, he's a bit conservative about their upgrades and their performance going forward, but for now they've got a decent package to start the season. So hopefully it can lead to some points this afternoon. They can stay out of trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And we just got the call. We'll be jumping into the qualifying session any second now while we're still watching Labau going around the circuit in practice. But any second now, qualifying should go underway. And this is then, and you can already see now we are 19, 18 drivers on the server.
We're just going to have a bit of a refresh. As the server switches over, it might be a good point as if you are joining us for the first time. We're also on YouTube for the first time, so if you're watching us on YouTube for the first time, you're very welcome. Great to have you, and also on Twitch as well. If you are new, as things switch over to the qualifying server, it might be worth bringing up a little graphic of the teams and the drivers. So just a little quick spotters guide for you. As mentioned, there's a couple of subs in this afternoon. So number 17 is not Paolo Bellamy, it is Gabriel Peckley. And the number 18 of Mark Jordan is instead Thomas Rashka. But otherwise, that's your grid for this afternoon. Yanis Walborn, the reigning champion, and Holland Racing Team, the reigning teams champion. The main title contender is Reuven Meshida for Ciuman Lee Sports, but keep an eye out for Lucas Murno and Alexander Knezovic and Scuderia Cesare, both very quick. Kneza getting caught up in some round one nonsense last time, meaning he didn't get the greatest start to the season. And then keep an eye out for Filip Puška for SCMM. Puška, a race winner. He won the first ever WMSC race last season, won quite a few times, but has fallen foul of multiple causes of just bad luck, whether connection issues last time, I believe there was a hardware issue, but he's quick and he's looking to close the gap to that top three. So definitely a couple of other names to look out for other than the orange car and Reuven Meshida this afternoon.
Yeah, so as we just started the qualifying session, Ash, who do you tip for pole position?
To me, it's still looking like Yanis Volborn for me. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One, there's a bit of information that you gave me, which I'll let you share in a second. But also, this time last year, Yanis Volborn picked up his first ever pole position at this very circuit. So he likes it here. I think he's going to be strong here again. So I think Yanis Volborn will pick up pole. And he's not got it yet this season. His teammate beat him out last time in Australia. But yeah, I'm tipping Yanis for pole here. What about you, Robin?
Well, I would tend to go for Yanis as well, but let's just say I'll go for Pascal Polens, who will do it once again and outpace his teammate in qualifying, which I think will not stand in the race. They will switch around, or, well, Volborn will overtake Polens, but yeah, Reuven, this is the information that you were hinting at that I have. Reuven told me ahead of this race that he has caught a bit of a cold, so he's not feeling 100%, and he does not really enjoy driving on this track. So yeah, he is aiming for the podium, but it will be difficult for him to compete with the two Holland guys. And yeah, I think Gino Gaggiano is the first driver that is in the gravel, and also the first one that has started his lap. But that one won't be good enough for pole position. Now he needs to be a bit cautious going back onto the track, because there's many drivers following him. A lot of slidings going on there, isn't it?
It is, and Pascal Polens there getting a bit messy over the curb. He is now taking point and looks likely to be the first to set first flying lap time, but certainly not going to be the best of what he's capable of. Look at the judgment of this. Like we said, temperatures looked okay, but get a big slide through turn 10 there. And yeah, they're just looking to struggle for grip at the minute. They're still finding their feet a little bit at the start of the session.
Yeah, so we also saw this with Murno in the last seconds of the practice session, but once again a bit of correction going on there, taking a very wide line. So the cars don't seem too easy to drive around this track. Let's see if this improves on the course of this session. And wow, Volborn looks super close to Polens. That might give him a bit of slipstream here on the straight, but might even be too close. Oh, Knezovic splitting the two Holland Racing Team cars instantly, but we know that Poland's lap was not a very competitive one by the amount that he was sliding around. And Meshida, just as we said that's the first time that puts him into P1. Lots of cars aborted the lap, back into the pit lane they went. Jendrik Bierhoff, 8th. Also not a good lap. Probably also on a bit of sliding.
Yeah, very much. Everyone getting in, seems like sighting laps in this first one. Certainly not pedal to the metal straight away. Here comes Gabriel Peckley on his first flying lap. And again having to catch a slide out of 14.
But that one doesn't look too bad. He should be in the top 6. Yeah, 6th is he.
Yeah, not bad. Ahead of Poland's, but see how Machado deciding to bail out of it. Here comes Denny Vella. Solid 5th place last time out in Australia. Much tidier out of final corner. This might be quite competitive as well, as across the line, and he goes 6th ahead of Peckley. See the Holland cars in the background. Oh, they're just diving in. So, worth noting, last year everyone had to qualify on race fuel. This year that's no longer the case, so everyone can get their hot laps in on low fuel, run as many times as possible, but obviously hoping the track is going to heat up. At the minute, track temperature about 28 degrees. I think that'll be enough, but as you say, they've seen quite a few slides so far. Berno having to just correct a little minor tank slapper there.
Oh no, he entered in 2nd. We almost missed that lap, so he had a pretty solid one.
Here comes Thomas Rashka starting another flying lap on his debut as a sub.
There was a crash in the pit. Oh, that was a drift.
Yeah, I did catch that in the background. If that was just a nod to what was happening there, it looked like someone crashed into the safety car. Gonzalez Cativo out on track now for Infernal Void. Victor B yet to come out the pits.
Yeah, B also dropped out of the session after we started qualifying. I hope there is no connection issue for him. He was very, very unlucky in Melbourne. He qualified very well, had a very good start to the race, but then there was ghost contact with Benton Reader that ended B's race prematurely, and he looked so quick. And who knows, maybe in that chaotic race, a top 3 finish might have been possible for him based on the pace that he has shown throughout and what happened to the guys around him. Tristan Engels coming out the final corner, setting his first lap time of the day. And that is just behind his teammate, Quercio.
Pino Cajano now, the team boss and driver of SCMM, and the boss of sister team Potenza Esports, looking to get his first flyer in, and that's ahead of his sister team to the top 10. Here comes Philip Pushka, who was on for a really solid result on his debut for the team. You mentioned a former race winner. Hopefully this afternoon his luck can hold and he can put in a solid result, and it's up to 4th, only half a second off the pole time. He has been shutting the gap in his final sector purple as well. Let's hope he can deliver on all the promising performances he's been putting in at the start of the season with his new team.
There we have the Magnum Motorsports car of Labau on screen. Now, interestingly, Jay Black is still missing his teammate, so there's still only 18 cars. Don't know who the other cars that we're still missing.
It's Tim Houck, I believe, of the Optiminal.
Oh yes, you're right.
So it looks like we'd be down. Obviously, Jay Black had to leave because of an emergency last time, so he might not be here for the same reason today. We hope he's well wherever he is, or if he does join us, we will see. But at the minute, just like we are going to have 18 with Magnum and Optiminal down to one driver each as Pascal Polans gets onto provisional pole. Walborn into second. Holland Racing Team firing back against Meshida, putting him half a second off the pace, but he's looking to respond now. Oh, and he just pushes it a little bit too hard out of 13 into the wall. Wing gone. Gonna have to head back to the pits. Over 5 minutes of the session remaining. Benton Reader now at the final corner. We mentioned
He's
go ahead.
Qualifying expert, Benton Reader. He always manages to set amazing laps in qualifying. That might just be another one. And Victor B, there he finally is. Enters in 8th. So you were going to say something?
Well, it was along the same lines of what you said about Daniel Benton Reader. We said he's very good in qualifying, but tends to drop off in the race. But last time out, his race pace was really solid, and it wasn't just staying out of trouble that helped him. He was very quick, and that's what led him to his 4th place. And interesting to note that you mentioned the ghost contact between him and B, and obviously it's really interesting to see that the contact looked about the same, but I wonder how different the damage was, because obviously Benton Reader recovered from that contact, come home fourth, and B ended up having to retire from it. So it's, luck of the draw from that unfortunate incident, but Benton Reader very much making the most out of it.
Oh, that was a really good lap time by Lucas Miller, just 0.3 off Holland Racing Team. He might be someone to watch out for in the fight for the podium.
Tim Houck is in the pits and has seemed to have joined the session, so we are up to 19. Hopefully Tim can get out and set a time. Obviously his debut, his first ever race for Optimal last time out, and did a solid job to get a point on his debut. You know, his expectations early on are just to, grow, learn with the car, no pressure to kind of be right at the top straight away, as much as, Reuven Meshed would probably like some support against those two Holland Racing Team cars. But he started well, and hopefully he can continue that this afternoon.
Yeah, and the pendulum will surely swing back towards Meshede's way in the remainder of this season, even without the support of a second teammate. He is, quick all around the calendar, and his time will surely come. Today will be a difficult one, but yeah, he will still be able to fight for a podium, I'm pretty sure. Danny Wella also, well, generally the first race has been a pretty solid one for Better Julia. They're sitting second in the Constructors' Championship. Danny he's a bit further off Benton Reader this time around. Might improve his lap here. Oh yeah, there he is. Just 0.2 off of Benton Reader right now.
Now, there's been lots of driver changes in the off-season, but Better Julia keeping their lineup, and one of the most consistent lineups of last season as well. And so far paying dividends. It's been a solid start to the season. I'm currently qualifying well, but we're on board with Philip Pushkin. Who'll be looking to improve up the hill through turn 12. A little bit of a correction on the wheel there. Head towards the end of Sector 2. Down through the gears through turn 13. One corner to go.
Yeah, they're all losing quite a lot in that middle sector compared to Holland Racing Team, which makes sense. They went for high downforce philosophy this season. Does the final sector should... No, he is going back into the pits. Going for one final push. That's interesting.
Quercio does look like he's going to carry on and complete his lap. But everyone, I think, is going to be preparing for their final run at this now, with just over 2 minutes to go in the session. Denny Vella, in the meantime, purple in Sector 1, but slower in Sector 2. And here comes Meshta, purple in both sectors. This could be a very interesting lap for him as he charges down to the final corner. All important to get the exit right, get the power on as early as possible. It looks very stable. Going to head towards the line. He's not going to head towards the line. Oh, wow. Everyone just maybe holding off their absolute best before putting in the final run potentially there.
Clearly, that is interesting. Maybe the pack evolution is so huge that he didn't want to finish that lap, because I didn't see any mistake in the final sector.
I wonder if it's having the right to reply though as well, because obviously the Holland Racing Team cars aren't on a flying lap, and obviously if he finishes that lap, he may not be in a position to go on one final run on fresh tyres. So I think he's aborted that so he can be in that final, be in the conversation when the end of the session comes.
That makes sense, but he's also connected to a bit of a risk, because now everyone is out except from Tim Houck. So, yeah, he could also get caught up in traffic, but that's the decision he made. Well, that's a very, very big decision, aborting a lap with 2 purple sectors.
It's worth noting that if you are, depending on where he is on the track now, it's going to be tight to get round, across the line.
He is now at turn 10, I can see on the track map, just behind Danny Weller.
Could be okay. So Gonzalez Cativo coming across the line. He will get one more crack at it should he decide to go again, and it's up to 10th for him. Here comes Lucas Murno, though, who's had a very good session so far. He might get a little bit of traffic at the final corner with the Holland Racing Team car, but now he'll benefit from the slipstream. And there he goes across the line. It's a purple final sector, but it does not move him any further, but only under 2/10 away from the Holland Racing Team, guys. That's a really good lap, still ahead of Meshida. And as noted by the Scuderia Cesario team boss, Max Heyman, in the Twitch chat, Holland Racing Team pulling some slipstream tactics to help the second driver to get as much speed as possible on the straights. Here comes Mateus Machado, though, for Potenza Esport. His final lap, the checkered flag is out. Everyone on their final flyers. He remains 14th. Here comes Daniel Benton-Reader. Purple in Sector 1. And a solid Sector 2. Will this be an improvement up from 5th? Knowing that Meshida is still on a flying lap ahead of him. It's not an improvement, though.
No, Meshida is in the pits. He has aborted that lap.
Oh, wow. Couple of very interesting decisions there from Reuven Meshida to abort the purple lap from before, and then obviously not happy with his flyer then. But here comes Gonzalez Cativo across the line. No improvement from 10th for him. Here come the Holland Racing guys, and Yanis Volborn looking very quick indeed, and Lucas Murno is in tow, quite literally. But Poland's is going to be leading this pack. Is Poland's going to improve? He does. Does Volborn improve? He does, and he goes on to provisional pole. Lucas Murno doesn't improve. That's Yanis Volborn. A celebratory slide there. And it's another perfect continuation for Holland Racing Team at the start of this season. Yanis Volborn from Pascal Polands, but Lucas Murno, another fine performance. And Filip Puška has just nicked in at the very end to go 4th for SCMM. Murno and Puška, two of the big standout performers last time, both getting hit with some issues, one self-inflicted, one not. But they continue to show their pace. They're ahead of Reuven Meshida.
By the way, I just received some interesting information that might have to do with the decisions that Reuven did this qualifying session. He has some connection issues, and he will probably retire from the race because of this. It might be too dangerous for the others. So this might be the reason also that he aborted that purple lap, and now he aborted that final lap in qualifying. So that is a bit of a shame for this race and the championship. But Lucas Murno, hats off to him. Amazing performance there.
So with everyone's qualifying laps done, let's have a look at the provisional grid for the race in Bahrain coming up next. So on pole position, Yanis Volborn from Pascal Polands, 2/10 separating them. Polands leading most of the session, but Volborn getting the benefit of the tow on that final lap. Some excellent team play between them, as we've seen time and time again. A standout performance from both Lucas Murno and Filip Puška, 3rd and 4th respectively. Reuven Meshida is provisionally 5th, but we'll see what happens with his connection issues if he decides to take the start of this race. Daniel Benton-Reader continuing his solid start to the season 6th, while Alexander Knežević looking to recover from that fateful opening round, starting 7th, splitting the better Julias. Gabriel Peckley, an excellent performance from him, 9th on his debut for Potenza Esport course, ahead of Victor B for Infernal Void. And it's the Infernal Void cars together with Cativo in 11th, Gino Gagiano for SCMM in 12th, JFL for Magnum Motorsports in 13th, ahead of Mateus Machado, Quercio, Jendrik Beerhoff, Engels, Rashka, all setting the times at the rear of the grid, while Tim Houck joining the session, but not qualifying. So he will start from the back of the grid. So we'll go for a short pause, and in just under 10 minutes' time, the race will start, and I do hope you'll join us. Typically has changeable weather conditions, and we've got that for you today. So WMSC always issues a forecast for each race. It's based on the statistical data of the location in the respective month and prepared by neutral persons. And today, qualifying cloudy with a slight chance of drizzle, whereas the slightly typically has changeable weather conditions, and we've got that for you today. So WMSC always issues a forecast for each race. It's based on the statistical data of the location in the respective month and prepared by neutral persons. And today, qualifying cloudy with a slight chance of drizzle, whereas the slightly time we reach Lake Com. Bartosz coming up. The revs come up. The lights come on. And off we go in Spa-Francorchamps. It's a decent hold. And it looks like... Oh, it's not been the best of starts of all, but he's had to go a little bit defensive. Fragoto's done an incredible job. He's at the inside of Poland, but Poland seems to be hanging it around the outside and has managed to get ahead of him. How racy is Fragoto going to be? I don't think so. He's on the harder tyre. He'll just want to get through cleanly and see if he can run longer than everyone else from this position. And it's okay. So Walborn has managed to hold on, but what can Pushka do in the slipstream? Is he going to look into Lake Com? He does. Forces a defensive move from Yanis Walborn. Any other moves into Lake Com, he just watches the field comes through. And everyone through cleanly. All 20 cars for the first time, and they're all still going. Fantastic to see. So Walborn leads from Pushka from Poland. Fragoto just behind. Let's see how well he can do on those harder tyres compared to, say, Lucas Murno on the mediums behind. He's going to be an interesting touch point, as is Aaron Curtis further down on the softs. Going to be interesting to see in terms of grip, in terms of it looks like Poland's just getting a little bit wide outside of Puon, but he seems to be okay. But Fragoto for company now. Max Riemüller already up one position to 7th. Got Ruben Mescheder behind him, who I also imagine is going to be pretty quick at this point. Wanted to work his way back through the field.
I'm surprised that there were no incidents into turn 1. They all got through cleanly. I think there were some overtakes in the back of the field, like Cativo, Coppetta, and so on. They're changing places at the moment.
It is good to see that, yeah, everyone has made it okay. Well, how much progress can you make? This is going to be interesting.
Seems that Benton Reader is bunching them up a little bit behind.
There's no DRS yet. Interesting to see what moves can be done as we head down the Kemmel Straight. Lots of changes going on in the back there between Kativo and Lawless, but up the front, Pascal Polens is already right on the back of Philip Pushka. As he predicted, the straight line speed in Sector 1, there's just no answer for it, and Polens makes it a Holland race. We 1-2! Benton Reed is having to go incredibly defensive to try and keep Reedmuller behind. He's fighting that one tooth and nail at the moment, and Gajano side by side with Meshida.
Lawless got the penalty.
Well, that's interesting. So we've not heard anything from race direction. Oh, this is the moment. He's just not bailed out of it coming into Lake Com.
Yeah, I must say in that case,
Stay with him. Clean and tidy through Eau Rouge and Radion.
I think you will see now the top speed difference. I think that Giugiano will almost stay ahead, probably.
Tries to cut across. Oh.
Yeah, just barely. He just barely overtook him.
I think he felt like he needed to do that, almost like he might have, might have had him alongside him through Lake Com.
Yeah.
Meshida's recovery almost complete.
Oh, and this will be interesting because these guys met in qualifying.
Oh, and Reedmuller is going to be on. The impatient Max Reedmuller returns. Welcome back. You join us in Bahrain, 1 minute away from the start of round 2 of WMSC 2024. Apologies if you're watching on YouTube. We've had to stop the stream over there for technical issues, but we are still live on Twitch, and the race is coming in just a second. Let's have a reminder of that starting grid once more. And it's a familiar sight up the front. It's all orange on the front row. Dennis Volborn from Pascal Polens. Volborn picking up his first pole of the season. The site he picked up his first ever pole in this competition. Lucas Murno and Philip Pushka, who are cementing their fight as the best of the rest on row 2. Reuven Meshida ahead of Daniel Benton Reader, but question marks over whether Meshida will start due to connection issues. Alexander Knezovic ahead of the other better Julia of Denny Vella. Gabriel Peckley a fine 9th on his debut for Potenza Esports ahead of Victor B and Gonzalez Cativo of Infernal Void. Junior Gajano is in the other SCMM in 12th, while João Fernando Labau of Magnum Motorsports is 13th. Machado for Potenza in 14th. Quershow for the Costec in 15th, and Jendrik Beerhoff for Velocita in 16th. Tristan Engel 17th. Thomas Rashke on his debut as a stand-in sub for Mark Jordan in 18th, while Tim Houck 19th, not setting a time in qualifying.
And we had just confirmation in the chat. Reuven is planning to retire after lap 1, which is a shame to hear, but very sensible decision. If the internet connection is too bad, and for the sake of the safety of the other drivers, that is very sensible decision to pull out of this race then.
Yep, and a shame, but it's absolutely the right thing to do. Real shame, because obviously it's clear he had the pace, having to abort an all-purple lap, but he will pull out after lap 1. However, we still have 18 cars racing this afternoon. As the revs come up, the lights come on, and they go out in Bahrain. It's a solid start from everyone. No weird laggy issues with people flying off into the wall this time. We head down to turn 1, and we can see there's an incredible start for one of the better Julies looking up the inside. And we've got contact in the back. It looks like a Velocita tangling with a Potenza Esports car. They're still going, but incredibly, Pascal Polens is being swallowed up by Murno and Pushka. We've got the other better Julius there as well, potentially Benton Reader. But Volborn is able to get away, while Polens is just trying to defend like crazy from Lucas Murno. What an incredible start.
Absolutely mad scenes from Daniel Benton. He almost entered the first corner in first. He was very, very deep into there. But amazing to see that this went through all right. In the background, the collision was most likely between Jendrik Bierhoff and Gabriel Peckley from the amazing starting position of 9th. he dropped down to 16th.
Once again, Knežević has dropped places on the opening lap, starting 7th, down in 12th. We'll have a look at the race start and all those stories as we get through the first few laps. But Lucas Murno, very racy to begin with, on the back of Pascal Polens. The question is, will he be able to make a move on the Holland Racing Team car? All about this exit out of the final turn. Immediately, Poland's pulling off to the side just to try and break the toe. Meantime, teammate Knežević making a move up to 11th, trying to regain places, but Murno needs to look out from the back. Daniel Benton-Reader into turn 1. Oh, they touch. Wheel to side pod. And Murno survives. A bit of an aggressive defending, but Philip Pushka's now right on the back. Oh, and Pushka having to take evasive action. Benton-Reader not quite probably realising he's there. But his very elbows out from Lucas Murno, and this is giving Poland a chance to get away.
Yeah, he already did get away, so like this battling in turn 1 is really costing lots of time.
These three once again showing solid pace last time out. They're back there again, looking very racy indeed.
Quercio is in the pits. Tim Haug didn't even start this race, I think. He's sitting in the pit lane still.
Got Beerhoff, Quercio and Hauk in the pits. Oh no, it looks like Quercio is back out again. See how that goes. In the meantime, Machado losing a couple of places further down the order. Meshid is still running at the minute. So you can see he decides to continue if his connection stabilised. Victor B up to 6th, and there's a penalty. So we've had word that Mauricio Quercio has been given a penalty, a drive-through for the incident at the start with Jendrik Beerhoff, which might be why Jendrik is in the pits. Is that a DNF? We're not sure yet. So again, another thing we will look to get on the replay as soon as we can. But so much happening at that start, lots of movers.
But this is really interesting. We didn't even see Quercio being in that incident. All we saw was a Velocita car going off. That was certainly Beerhoff. But there was also a Potenza eSport car going backwards in turn 1, right? So,
yeah, I thought it was, unless we've got the mix up with the Costec, but I'm pretty sure from the shade of blue it was one of the Potenza cars.
So at least 3 cars involved there, and Ruben Meshida, yeah, now he pitted and now it shows DNF, so he actually decided to pull out from this race. Shame for him, and yeah, this is looking like a terrible afternoon for Optiminal, as Hauk is still in the pits, not in this race currently.
And here we go. Let's have a look back at the start. So we're going to watch from Alexander Knežević's point of view, who I didn't particularly see what happened to him. So let's see. So a lot of shuffling there. It's an incredible start from Benton-Reader, as you say, up to the inside. Knežević, oh, just getting squeezed there by a Better Julia, and then contact, twice with that Better Julia, spinning round. And
so it was both Potenzas out in an incident there, in separate incidents. Peckley and Knežević was one incident, but then the other thing was Quercio, he lost his front wing, I saw that in the background. But then it was Machado going backwards into turn 1, so yeah, two separate incidents at the first 3 corners.
And it's worth noting that Victor B's had a solid start from 10th up to, he was up to 6th, but Denny Vella has managed to get past him. Oh, Gajano, he's now clearly fighting with Gino Gajano based on the timing tower. But good to see that Jendrik Beerhoff, despite that opening lap incident, is at least still running. We can see there's 3 of them running together, Vella B and Gajano, all fighting. Victor B, very quick on 1 lap. Unlucky with the ghost contact last time, but even before that ghost contact, there was a bit of a train that falling behind him. He just needs to settle into that race rhythm now. See what he can do, lap by lap. Gajano is looking like he's much more settled and all over the back of B. turn 13 down the hill towards the final turn. If anyone can make a move, DRS will be active. That's what all drivers have at their disposal. In the meantime, Lucas Murno setting a fastest lap of the race, dropping Benton Reader a bit and getting into clear air. That's a very interesting warning shot. Murno maybe trying to tell the drivers ahead it's not over. In the meantime, Gagiano getting a little bit alongside Victor B. Will he line up? We've got some traffic up ahead though. Kostek staying right out of the way. Mauricio Quercio.
And Gagiano will be having a hard time against Victor B as long as Danny Weller is still there, giving the DRS to Victor. So this is pretty much the lifeline, but it looks like Gagiano can go so much quicker than these two ahead.
Look to unsettle B maybe in the corners, and again he's right up with him. DRS opens for both of them. Put right under, so he's still going to get a bit of slipstream. As you can see, he's closing the gap, and he is going to go for it into turn 11. He has to barge him wide. I wonder if he'll get asked to give that place back. Just needing to slow the car a bit more than he could in that moment.
Yeah, I'm sure Victor B will be typing the I in the chat to have the race director look at that situation. Murno once again, fastest lap. And he is in the DRS of Pascal Polens once again, if the math's alright.
Really interesting strings of cars here together. And yes, Murno's there. Benton Reader. And we've just had the call from race direction, unsurprisingly, that Gino Gagiano has to let Victor B back past. But yes, so Poland, in the meantime, is being reeled in. And now we will see what happened. Mauricio Quercio, why he was given that early drive-through penalty. Oh, big spin up of the wheels there. Losing a few places. I imagine that's going to be Beerhoff just to the left of your screen. And oh, he just completely missed his braking point. A homage to Bottas bowling in Hungary there, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a nice figure of speech. Like, that is a perfect description of what happened there. Mauricio Quercio, in the meantime, has retired from this race. So have Jendrik Beerhoff. Looked also like bigger contact, so there might have been a bit more damage to the cars than what we can see from the outside. And Lucas Murno putting Poland under pressure. Now, this is a really, really interesting turn of events. We expected Lucas to be strong here, but not Holland Racing Team challenging strong. DRS should be open now. He's gaining. He could go for it. He decides to stay behind, and Benton Reader is right there as well. So, who knows, maybe, and I think that is happening right now, Wilborn lifting off the throttle a little bit to support his teammate with DRS, and I think that is exactly what has happened here, because that was really close to Lucas making a move on Poland's. Also, this is the tire situation, we haven't really talked about that at all. Benton Reader on the softs, Cativo on the softs, the rest of them all on the mediums. So this is interesting strategy-wise, and this is also very, very good news, and very concerning news maybe for Holland Racing Team, because Lucas Murno is on the same tires as the two Holland Racing Team cars, and look how close he is to the back of that Holland Racing Team.
Absolutely, and yeah, worth mentioning. So everyone has to choose between two sets of tyres for the race, and everyone's gone for the more aggressive set, which includes super softs and mediums, and everyone has to use each compound at least once during the race. As you say, incredibly encouraging that Lucas Murno is so close to the back of Pascal Polens on the same tyre. Daniel Benton Reader in an interesting situation because he's on the softer tyre. he might want to kind of attack, but I think he knows that if he attacks Lucas Murno, they're both going to lose the back of the Holland cars. So I think he's just waiting and biding his time at this moment in time to see if Lucas Murno can maybe break up these two. But as you say, they're now playing the team game beautifully, as they did in Australia, as they have done many times before. So can anyone break the resistance? But at the minute, Benson Reader is very close to the back of Murno. Is he going to look? He half looks just to cause Murno to maybe react a bit defensively, but nothing out there yet. In the meantime, they are all dropping Pushka. I thought Pushka would be able to stay with them. He's about 4 seconds back up the road, running alone, but maybe he can reel them in over the coming laps. But it is fascinating to see how close these two are to Holland, and admittedly, I think Yannis Volborn, if he wasn't helping out his teammate, could start to pull out a bit of a gap. But the fact that Pascal Polens isn't able to also pull away is very interesting indeed.
Yeah, also, remember, when they were all running in clean air, Lucas Murno was setting the fastest lap times and not Yannis Volborn. So this is also in the best interest of Yannis to support his teammate here, because as soon as Murno goes past, he might not be safe either. Like, this is a proper battle for the win here.
And here we go, down the main straight we go. DRS second, third and fourth. He's not quite in the position yet. Whether he can be close enough somewhere else on the lap to maybe cause it, or just somehow get Poland's offline. Having a little tentative weave out by the looks of it towards 4, but not really committing to anything. Spotted messages from Reuven Meshida in the chat. Sorry that you had to retire this afternoon, Reuven. Wishes everyone a fun race. The right decision from him, but a shame that he had to make it, unfortunately. And yeah, DNFs for both Optiminals this afternoon.
I think there was just a mistake from Fernando Lebao somewhere in the first sector. There was a yellow flag, and Lebao lost 3 or 4 spots, maybe even. He had a battle with Kneza a bit earlier.
And speaking of Kneza, it's interesting that we had Gajano and B fighting each other, and now B's dropped. Speaking of Victor B, has he just had an off there? We'll get that in a second. I was going to say, Knezovic has recovered beautifully to split Gajano and B. And now B's had his own moment. So now Knezovic and Gajano in the points. Gabriel Peckley, in the meantime, up in 10th and not far away from points. This is an incredible debut for Potenza Esports. Remember, a team that themselves haven't scored any points yet in their season and a half. Let's see what happened here. So B, he's just misjudged it on the entry to 10, and then he just span up the rears on the power a bit too early. Might have been able to get away with that. Just been a little gentler on the throttle application. Meantime, we have a very interesting queue building up, and Murno is now all over the back of Poland's. Benton Reader just waiting patiently. Pushka coming closer and closer into view.
Yeah, I just wanted to say, I think that gap was up to 5 seconds at one point, right? Now it's down to 3.7, so he's not too far away either. I think that Cesario is really working well here. I mean, the amount that Kneza has been able to make up. Let's see where he can, or how fast he can go in clear air. Peckley going for 9th against Gajano. That will be very interesting here. Not really usually a spot where you overtake. Gajano backs out. Let's Peckley go ahead.
Is Gajano struggling with something? Because he's dropped behind Kativo as well. And he looks like he's very much vulnerable to Fernando Lebao now as well.
He was very slidey over the hill there.
I wonder if he's having issues. He's also on the medium tyre. Kativo, the other super soft runner, just ahead. very interesting that quietly, in all this very active first 11 laps, Daniel Benton-Reader has set the fastest lap of the race. Tucked in behind the top four is Peckley, with a very big move to the inside there. And I think it was slightly half-hearted, and now he's going to surely have to defend from Kativo. They've got the DRS to help defend, but Kativo comes for the move. Oh my word, it looks like going a bit sideways. Can Labau maybe get past? And they're going to go side by side into the S's. Oh, connection issues there for Gajano. And Gajano has had to give up the place. I wonder if that's what's causing him issues, if he's having connection issues that's meaning he's having to bail out. With Gajano now. So this would be Kativo. And he does exactly what Victor B does. So that was just a driver error. That's why Peckley was in the position he was. So Gajano now having... he's back past Labau. My goodness, Gino. Give us a chance to breathe.
Yeah, so all of the battles we didn't have at Melbourne where overtaking was really difficult, this time it's just the other way around. You don't know where to look. Now Labau might be on the attack once again. He can open his rear wing now. Towards turn 1 there goes Gino, already going towards the inside. A bit of weaving there on the straight. Labau down the inside he goes. He's ahead for now, but now there is the opportunity for the counter-attack from Gajano, but he's a bit too far away, and Labau has the DRS, so he should be safe for now. And there is Victor B, also looking to get past Gino.
Be recovering from his own mistake, but they will now resume their battle, unfortunately a little bit further down the order. Both of them were in the points before when they had their altercation. Now they've just shuffled down and regain some composure, get back on the attack, because both cars not doing badly. In the meantime, the fight at the front. Still no change between this top four, but Lucas Murno right behind Pascal Polens. Very close again, but Polens will again have DRS from his teammate. Is he going to be close enough to think about making a move, or even just a dummy, just to try and unsettle Polens? Not this time. So it'll be interesting. Benton Reader and Kativo, the two people we need to look out for. They are the only two on the super softs. It'll be interesting to see when they stop, how long those super softs last. But you mentioned that the Scuderia Cesarios, before running well, note that they've gone with a high downforce philosophy for their car. It's clearly suiting them quite well.
Yeah, it is. The car's working tremendously here.
Of course, the Holland Racing Team car's gone with a very high downforce philosophy, but maybe that straight line speed just on the side of Scuderia Cesario to keep with them. He's clearly able to sit right behind Pascal Polens, and he doesn't seem too unsettled by the dirty air.
Yeah, and I think what is saving Pascal, at least for now, is the DRS upgrades that they have done, which fits perfectly well to their philosophy. And this has also been the issue that Reuven had with those two cars at Melbourne. It is just so hard to get past them when they're doing this, and giving each other DRS to avoid them being overtaken, but this always bears the risk of being undercut when it's time for the pit stops, because they can't come in at the same lap. So if Lucas does this smartly, he can just split them when it's time for the first pit stop, and then try and attack Wilborn from there. But this is all going to happen in the future. And wow, through that bit here, it almost looks like Lucas has to live to not run into the back of Pascal Polens.
He's incredibly close. At all the moments, he's not quite able to make a move. And the DRS, as you say, helping Pascal Polens. He gets a good exit out of turn 10 as well. Roll him up the hill through turn 12. He just closing up into braking.
They're getting close to Rushkin now, so there's a bit of lap traffic. This is always an opportunity if you're chasing another car, but this can also turn very wrong as well. They're all reaching Rushkin on the pit straight, dropping out of the way. Oh yeah, even dropping into the pit lane.
So he was on the medium tyres. It's interesting he's deciding to come in early before even any of the super sufferers, as Benton Reader has a little look as well.
I'd love to see Benton Reader in third and see what he will do against Holland Racing Team. He's always a bit of a risker, Daniel Benton Reader.
Benton Reader, I think, is just biding his time. But also, he might be trying to look after those super softs and extend this stint as best he can while he's with the top four.
Oh, Gajano's passed Lebao once again, so...
So Gajano managing to find a little bit of stability and pace once more. He's going to look to try and get to Kativo and Peckley up ahead. Which, encouraging for all of these, because obviously there's, they're all chasing that final point spot, but Kativo on the super softs and these guys running the mediums. Worth noting that upgrades were brought by only 2 teams this weekend. One of them's at Timonal, and unfortunately both of their cars are out of the race. Bringing forward DRS upgrades, very much probably to address the issue you said, Robin, about obviously struggling to get past with the DRS train.
Oh, speaking of DRS train, Poland is out of DRS right now. Wolborn with the fastest lap, so this might now be interesting as Murno has the chance now and he's going for it down the inside and he passes Pascal Polens.
I'll be very interested to see if there was a mistake for Polens in the build up to that, or if Wolborn has just said, I need to go, I need to try and build up a gap. But again, we're not seeing any of the super softs come in, so I'd be really surprised if the medium runners are looking at pit stops just yet. But that is a vital, vital move from Lucas Murno to split the Holland Racing Team cars, and it's going to be interesting to see, can he chase down Yanis Wolborn now? Because Wolborn's now got no reason to hang back. Neither does Daniel Benton Reader on these super softs.
Murno is already close to Wolborn. Kativo, the other driver that started on the super softs, has been into the pits now and changed to the mediums. So this is interesting news for Daniel Benton Reader, but Benton Reader, he still seems to be quite quick on those as he's still sticking to Polens.
See how many more laps he leaves it. Like you said, the undercut could be a viable option to get in track position over the cars ahead. For the final turn we come. So, Wolborn is going to have no DRS defending against Murno, but I feel like the gap is not quite close enough yet, but this is going to reel him in. He might have a chance on the second DRS zone on the run up to turn 4. All about the exit through 1, 2 and 3 now.
He's still too far away, but next time around he might have a chance.
There was just a little twitch coming out of 2 and 3 there for Lucas Murno, but incredible. They both immediately. I think Polens might just have had DRS last time, but I think by the next lap, Polens might lose DRS on Murno.
Yeah, he might, and Benton Reader is still there, and I'm looking at the gap where Benton Reader would filter out when he pits. I think he needs to wait until he can easily come out ahead of Knezovic, which should be in a couple of laps' time. Because then he will have some clean air ahead of him, and only his teammate will be there, and we will surely get out of the way. But yeah, let's stay with that battle. Looks like Poland's still managed to stick to Murno. Benton Reader now dropping back a little bit. Still just inside that DRS window, I think.
Oh, twitching a little bit from Lucas Murno there on the exit. And in comes Daniel Benton Reader on the end of lap 18.
Woolman just set the fastest lap of this race.
Desperately trying to get Murno out of DRS so Poland can maybe try and fight back against Murno. But this is going to be interesting now for Daniel Benton Reader. Hopefully he can come out into some clear air, get some good laps in. He might have a chance to break the resistance ahead of him and get into the top 3. End of lap 17, lap 18. That pit stop coming. Going into turn 1. Oh, and Gajano is trying to make a move now on Peckley. He's reeled in Peckley, but that attack means that Labau is going to have a chance to fight back. B is there as well. And Peckley going defensive. Obviously inheriting the last point spot after Kativo stopping. Peckley is now trying to contain 3 cars behind him. A really solid debut for him. Hope he can keep going on. A bit of a slide there for Gajano on the exit. It might just be a little bit of respite for Peckley. Through 9 and 10. Down through the gears, you can see there's quite a few slides there from Gajano as he's just, again, not quite getting the power down. And Peckley is going to get away with it on the run down to 11. Meantime, Pascal Poland fighting back with a fastest lap. The top 3 last lap times, 1 minute 32.1, 1 minute 32.2, 1 minute 32.1. They're all within a tenth of each other and absolutely flying. Meantime, though, Gabriel Peckley's had a very solid mid-sector. Looks like he's going to be safe this time around from Gajano. The question is Gajano safe from Labau as Victor B comes in from 11th? Are the medium tyre stops now starting to happen? Not that much of a gap between them. Gajano is still incredibly close to Peckley into turn 1. But he's got a decent run out of turn 3. DRS for him. He's going to have a look for the move. Peckley to the inside. He's going to force Gajano around the long way. But incredible defensive driving there from Peckley. Positions his car beautifully. And Gajano with nowhere to go. But again, really press it up to them through the S's as they head towards the sharp turn 8. And Labau, oh, he's half looking at a move as well. Kativo will be happy these 3 are fighting because obviously he stopped early. It means if he can run clear, he would be able to re-inherit his 8th spot without too much bother.
Yeah, but he's facing Machado next, who could, of course, support his teammate in the fight for the final point scoring position. Let's see what happens once Kativo catches Matheus Machado.
But again, Gabriel Peckley in this middle sector is very strong. He just has a decent gap. And then it's over these 2 straights, especially one with DRS, that Gajano gets closer.
Yeah, what a debut for Gabriel Peckley. He put it in 9th in qualifying, and now he's running in the points without much preparation ahead of this race. He was called in, almost last second, and he might be the first driver to score a point for Potenza Esport. But there goes Gajano once again. Oh, there is contact.
Tries to do a switchback. Oh.
And Labau might be saying, oh, thank you very much. No, he almost side swerves into Peckley. They managed to continue, but that was a bit messy, that situation there.
Oh, it looked like the commentator's curse was about to strike heavily there, but thankfully Peckley has managed to hold on and they've just switched back. I think Labau knew full well that wasn't a legal overtake. I don't think it was intentional by any means. They're just all jostling for position. It started with Peckley going for the switchback and then tangling with Gajano, but everyone just trying to make moves and just getting, caught in each other's way. But in the meantime, Murno has stayed within DRS range of Yanis Volborn. Poland's has stayed within DRS range of Murno. They all come up to traffic now. Engels just ahead of them. Engels to dive out of the way. But Pushka is in the pits. In the meantime, is this one of the top runners on the medium tyre coming in for a stop? It looks like it is. Car has been serviced, it heads out, and that is soft tyres for Filip Pushka. If he can do anything to bridge the gap, those front cars out behind Daniel Benton, Reader.
Now this is interesting, so I think both Filip Pushka and Victor B might be on a 2-stop, where they use the super softs twice, because it's a bit late now a bit early for a 1-stop, a bit too late to go back to the mediums later on. This is Cativo now trying to pass Matheus Machado. There's B in the background as well. Oh, a bit of swerving there, but they both clear the Potenza Esport. Now they're getting in their own way. We should... Cativo, no, who is the car ahead? Cativo is ahead, and now he's letting B past.
Makes sense. He's on the soft tyre. He's going to be faster at this point in time. No point fighting with each other. So while B has that quicker tyre, and those tyres are fresh, he's going.
Peckley, in the meantime, has also been to the pit lane. He is out far behind Cativo. These two were running together ahead of their respective pit stops. So that is this battle dissolved for the moment.
Peckley staying on mid. Oh my goodness! 3 wide through there. What part of the track is that? I think that was turn 4. And incredibly, Poland
still
is back
not
ahead.
No.
Oh, they touched. Thankfully, it's not Wheel sending him round, but Murno not quite done yet. Is he going to look to the inside of 9? Not quite, but he's so close. Pascal Polands, they're both going to have DRS. Get a replay of what just happened as we catch the end. I wonder if that...
saw what happened ahead, right? I was just looking at the tyres that Gabriel Peckley chose, but might Murno have tried something into turn 4 to take the lead?
And it's backfired. Oh, and there's just been a warning from Race Direction for both Polands and Murno. So there might have been Margie-Bargie there. And I wonder if it was started with Murno maybe having a go at Volborn into turn 1. That going wrong and Poland's fighting back. But we'll see what happened in a moment as Kenza Esports car filters out at the exact wrong moment. He gets on the brakes. Very well done. And that's Matheus Machado, I believe. Very sensibly staying out of the way.
Yeah, showing great awareness there, because that could have gone very, very different indeed. I remember Pastor Maldonado turning Esteban Gutierrez around in a similar situation. This is what happened. Murno going for a move into turn 1. But I say they go through here. He's trying to stay on it.
Oh, and he's almost in the lead temporarily, but Poland's sees the opportunity. Oh, and he gets up kind of barged out the way.
But to me, this all looked hard but fair.
Okay, no action. It's just last warning. But yeah, it was from Murno looking to try and get the lead from Yanis Volborn. And unfortunately, he's now got to do some of that work again. Got to break this resistance of the top 2.
They're all still staying out. Maybe trying to go for that 1-stop.
Thing is, though, the second stop is going to be on the super softs. So what are they? They're going to have to get to what, lap 36 roughly? 30, 34 maybe at the earliest. If you think the Super Soft's about 20 laps that they lasted for. Both Gonzalez Cativo and Daniel Benton Reader. It's still quite a way to go. Denny Vella in the meantime pits, and Benton Reader is back up to 4th. His position pre-pit stop. Heckley in the meantime fighting with Gajano once again. Both of these on the same tyre at the moment.
I've got further information from race control about these warnings for Poland and Myrna. So the warning that Myrna received is for the dive bomb he did down later in that hairpin against Poland. Poland is for the dive bomb from far back. They made contact with Myrno into turn 3.
Gonna have to be careful now. In the meantime, though, Labau on Peckley. Oh, and they clatter wheels, and it's another messy coming together at turn 1. Is Peckley going to be able to fight back there with a bit of momentum and DRS? Don't think he's got the DRS because the activation, it's just the one activation zone. Oh, Peckley down to 12th for now. Still awaiting a stop from the top 3 and Alexander Knezovic. Otherwise, everyone now has stopped. And Tristan Engels also yet to stop, actually, as well.
Benton Reader not looking that quick on his fresh tyres.
Yeah, he's
28 seconds back, 29 seconds now back. I mean, he passed Knezovic, maybe he lost time there.
So he's about 2/10 slower than the top 3. Oh, and Gabriel Peckley's going to get 11th place back. Fernando Labau judged to have barged Gabriel Peckley out of the way, so they will switch places again in a moment.
Busy day in the race control office today.
It's a busy day everywhere. It's another race, just like Australia, where there's stuff happening all the time.
I just imagine the sweat that Max Heyman is producing right now. Probably there's a big dive bomb there by Cativo against Gagiano. These two know each other well. Oh, and there's Labau now.
These guys all becoming very firm friends, if you want to call it that, today. Oh, and Poland's is in. Poland has pulled the trigger on the first pit stop for the top 3. The question is, what tyre is he going to go on to? Surely, from this point, even if it's a super soft, he's going to need to stop again. Tivo has just received a last warning for the action you just saw with Gagiano. Poland's out, so will Murno respond straight away? And that does look like, is that red tyres on? It is. It's super softs for Pascal Polands.
Well, they managed to go 26 on the mediums. Now they have to go 30 on the softer tires. Of course, the cars are lighter, so it's possible. But still, a big ass. Oh, there goes Peckley once again. Unusual spot to do that contact once more.
Oh! And that was almost very well done. He put Labau offline, but then a little bit of banging of wheels, and I do wonder if that will get pulled as well.
Yeah, I mean, Peckley has been asked to let Labau pass earlier, so he is really playing with fire here. There goes Labau once again. More contact.
And Peckley manages to hold on. I think he's going to have the DRS and Cativo ahead to at least defend this time around. They survive another lap. In the meantime, Lucas Murno into the lead of the race. Yanis Volborn is in. Murno going to try and extend. Trying to, maybe not concerned about the undercut.
They surely won't want to undercut each other, but I'm pretty sure Poland would let Yanis through should he undercut him.
It's worth noting, we said in the last race it looked like that the move that Volborn made on Poland was looked a bit scripted. And actually, what we didn't see beforehand is Poland's had a track limits warning, so he had to get off the throttle, which is why it looked so easy for Volborn to get past. So there were no preconceived plans on who was going to win. It was just a case that it worked out that Volborn was able to get past, and they held position.
But still, there definitely are some team orders at play because they do not attack each other. Once they're too close, they lift off the car that is behind. Whoever it is, they're not really fighting each other. So they're just trying to run together.
I think they're very conscious, especially when there's other cars with them. They're not going to fight. They might, maybe, if they were the only two out front. But like you say, it's probably not going to be as hard as we've seen some fights this afternoon. Speaking of which, Gabriel Peckley, looking to kind of angle himself for the exit out of turns 1, 2, and 3, and has done a very good job. Can he get the move done around the outside of turn 4? He's got DRS, he's going to have the speed, but can Kativo just hold him out there? But Peckley's going to go. Oh, they touch wheels, and they. Oh God, now Kativo banging between.
Oh no! Crash! Oh,
it has to be said, that's been coming. Kativo pinballing between Labau and Peckley. In the meantime, Tristan Engels is retiring the car for some reason, so Engels out as both Kostecs out of the race, but Potenz's best hope for points might have just taken a big knock there.
yeah, and I'm afraid this one has to go to Kativo. He was the car behind. Peckley was almost entirely through. Just the rear wheels were still there, and I don't think there was any chance for Kativo to stay ahead. And he already pushed the limits a bit, I feel, by moving very, very late in the braking zone of turn 1. So it was a very, very late move. So here's what happened to Engels. Oh, that looked odd.
Can't tell if that was caused by some kind of issue or if he just got caught on a bump and he's gone out into the wall. Now, something very interesting. Obviously, Lucas Murno staying out, but last lap, he was quicker than Yanis Volborn by just a few hundredths of a second. But notably on the medium tyre.
Yeah, and honestly, I am questioning the strategy of Holland Racing Team a bit, because they have to go longer with the Super Soft than what they did on the medium. So, okay,
and we've just had the call from Race Control, and you deserve a spot in Race Control, Robin, because you call it the same as them. Gonzalez Kativo will have a drive-through penalty for that incident we've just seen. I think that's fair enough from your assessment there, Robin.
Yeah, as I said, I agree with that decision, and that was very, very close to.
Oh my goodness! And Philip
Wow.
Pushka now pushing hard on the super soft tyres, getting caught up with I think that was maybe Kativo.
Kativo was in the pits earlier, so I think that it might have been him. Yeah, it is Kativo.
So almost a big accident there, but now Pushka making the fact that he's on the quicker tyre work against Benton Reader. Like you say, Benton Reader hasn't been able to push on and close the gap up to the top 3 in the clear air, so the undercut not working for him. But still quick enough, still looking at top 5 if he can, but he has got Alexander Knezovic in a clearly very quick and very durable Cesaro. I've just realised Knezovic still hasn't stopped. He's clearly trying to extend for a one-stop race this afternoon.
Yeah, and I think we're now very close to the territory where one stop is possible by switching from medium to super soft. Just look at how long Benton Reader was able to make them last. I just thought Pushka was diving into the pits. Now he's just defending the inside very, very early. Let's just recheck. Benton Reader came. Oh, contact! What's happened there?
He's just missed his braking point there, and they've had a little bit of contact. No damage by the looks of it. Don't think there's a puncture, and I don't think there's any wing damages there for Benton Reader, but just yeah, just missing his braking point a little bit there. Lapse of concentration into turn 1, maybe. Yeah, so it's interesting now. The gap between the lap times, I should say, between Lucas Murno and the two Hollands is opening up now. The very last warning for Daniel Benson-Reader for that incident is just, I think race control's patience is very close to snapping. But yeah, so the lap time's now very much starting to drift apart. The high 130s for the Holland Racing Team cars, obviously on super softs with fuel coming down. Lucas Murno's last lap was a 1:32. But as you say, if he's going to try and extend as much as possible, there's going to be quite a tyre offset when Murno comes out on the super softs. So the question is, are Holland going to stop again, or are they just going to try and make those super softs last? Either way, both Cesarios are extending this first stint, and it's going to put them in a solid position in terms of tyres, at least, for their final stint.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, what I was just saying ahead of the Benton Reader incident is Benton Reader made them last 18 laps, and he had some good pace still in there, and that was with a heavy car. These cars will now be a lot lighter than they were at the beginning of this race, which should improve tire life. So I think Murno and Kazovic are definitely going for the one stop, because I don't think right now it does not make sense to go for 2 more stops anymore. And with Holland Racing Team, honestly, it's going to be a very tough job making those super softs last 30 laps. I think about 26 was when Wilborn made his way into the pits.
And obviously, at the minute, they're not particularly concerned about conserving, because they are setting, fast lap after fast lap. Last 2 was, again, both in the 1:30.8. So they're clearly... They're not worried about concerning that. They surely have enough in hand now to get back out ahead when Murno stops, but they're pressing on and shutting that gap. So they, at this point, don't seem concerned, unless they've just decided, no, we are going to stop again. It's full push from now to the end of the race, which I don't think would be the choice. I'd be surprised if it is, as Pushka goes a little bit wide on the exit of 13. It looks like he's going to get away with just. Benson Reader will be in DRS range, though. See how much he can close up. We head down the main straight.
That is some very interesting defensive driving by Pushka.
And again, Benson Reader squirming under brakes there.
Yeah, he's very, very late on the brakes into turn 1. He gained quite a bit this time around, but yeah, he overdid it a few laps ago. And he can't do that again. He had his very last warning, so he is on a black and white flag that most likely is 90% black, 10% white. So yeah.
Great to see some support for some drivers in the comments. Heckley B, Lucas Murno and Machado all getting shouted out this afternoon. As ever, Infernal Void, team president in the chat. Spoke just ahead of the race. He was letting me know about Rashka coming in for Jordan. And I asked him what his expectations were this afternoon. He's hoping for points for Infernal Void, but we will pick that up in a second as Lucas Murno is in the pits. Onto the soft tyres. Where is he going to filter back out? I think the gap should be big enough that he's not going to end up behind Pushka. They're at the top of the screen there, just to the right of your picture, but he's out. Okay. Hammer down, and he's not going to be in DRS threat there either, so that's all very good indeed. So, the gap is about 10 seconds, or 11, we should say now. He's going to be on the fresher tyres. What can he do on them?
Yeah, this race is properly on now. But he also needs to think about tyre life now. I think the Cesari seems to work pretty well in that regard, but yeah, still he can't push too much right now, especially since I am pretty sure Holland Racing Team have to stop again. I'd be surprised if they can go at that pace throughout this entire stint without stopping again.
It'll be interesting to see how the lap times change now that stop's gone. So obviously next time round, we'll update you and see what the relative paces are. Obviously keep an eye on that gap as well. Already, it seems to be creeping down from the 10.8, 10.9. And just on this outlap for Lucas Murno. Yeah, so speaking to the team boss of Infernal Void and Velocita Virtuale, said the goal was Infernal Void get points, and at the minute, if Victor B can hold 8th, they will get their first points of the season this afternoon. For Velocita, it's just survive, just have a solid afternoon. He wasn't super confident about their chances. Unfortunately, Jendrik Beerhoff getting caught up in the first lap tangle. But Rashka, as a late sub, doing well, just making sure he's going to get to the end this afternoon.
Yeah, and he's doing quite a good job. Been staying out of trouble. Knezovic now also in the pit lane. There he's coming out, and this will be very close to Victor B.
Oh, no.
No,
Actually,
that is
no.
not B, that's Kativo, so there is a bit of a bigger gap.
So he's
Sorry.
safe. That's okay though. That's perfect for Knezovic, out into clear space on the super softs, probably to the end. So let's see what he can do from there. He's going to be looking at the very least to hunt down those better Julias, but we'll see what other people's strategies are this afternoon. Obviously, Philip Pushka has been on his set of super softs for quite a while longer. He stopped on lap 21. So there might still be a shot at 4th for Knezovic this afternoon, depending on what other people are doing with their tyres and how big the fall off is as well.
Yeah, but I'm pretty confident he will at least get ahead of Danny Weller, and then we need to see what he can do from there. But a very, very solid afternoon, considering his race in Melbourne, where he was taken out in lap 1 and then had like a, 11 pit stop race. This time it's the exact opposite. He will finish this race with just that one pit stop that he had to make to switch to the different tyre compound. And he most likely will score points.
And obviously he didn't have the best start. I think he started 7th if I remember rightly. Yes, he did. So, but then dropped out to 12th. But he's recovered well. Still might be a shot at the top 5.
Also some great development from Alexander Knezovic. Of course, he has been competing in other IBOS racing series. He won, I think, the inaugural WMSC championship 2 years ago. But last year he was sitting with me here, commentating on this race. Oh, Gabriel Peck, the race just was him missing a front wing. One would have there. I think he was not with one. Quite a long pit stop as well.
Indeed. Did Peckley also need to stop for the super softs?
Oh, what's happened there? It looked like he was going...
Oh!
Yeah, he's retiring. Okay.
Also, something has happened to Gabriel Peckley. That is such a shame. His performance for the first 35 laps had been decent. He'd gotten a bit tangled in some fights, but I think everyone was slightly guilty of getting elbows out, a bit touring cars, if you like, with those moves. But as a last-minute super sub, he performed admirably, and unfortunately, his afternoon ends lap 36.
Yeah, he did, and I think this year today was the closest that Potenza Esport ever came to scoring points. So, a very good effort, nevertheless, from Gabriel Peckley. Right now, we're seeing these two running together. See what happened here.
Oh, and just the wheel on the curb in the braking zone that sent him up into the wall. wing gone, and I imagine there'll be some other damage there that we can't see, potentially to suspension. That is what's forced Gabriel Peckley to retire. Such a shame.
Yeah, indeed, that is. Now, things are working very well for these two that are on screen right now. They're increasing their gap to Lucas Murno. 12 seconds. The Brazilian is now behind these two. But we both think they have to stop. Or at least I do think so. Don't know about you, but...
I'd be surprised if they don't. The drop-off in pace at the end... You know, they're still lapping in the high 130s, low... well, they're more into the low 131s now, it has to be said. But they're still pushing. And they're keeping the gap to Murno. So to me, that suggests they are just having to push as hard as they can, and they're going to need to stop again. And they're hoping that they'll be the ones with the tyre deficit and the pace at the end of the race to attack back. But I wonder if they'll have left themselves a bit too much to do.
Question from Ruben in the chat there on what happened to Lucas Murno because he was so close to the HRT guys. He was, and he still is in a fight with them, but Murno is, we suppose, on a different strategy compared to these two. Murno stopped a lot later than the Holland Racing Team cars. They were in around lap 25, lap 26 to switch on to the Super Soft. Murno was in...
I think it's about 10, 11 laps later. Yeah.
And he is probably on the one stop while Holland Racing Team are on a two stop. This is what we presume, so this battle is still not over between these three drivers.
Oh, Gino Gagliano and Gonzalez Cativo, DNF.
Oh.
Have they just had a big coming together?
Oh, not again. Come on, guys.
Well, at least, you know, race control doesn't have to punish that, but we'll find out what's happened to them now. Wow, first Peckley having a random moment into the wall and off and braking on the curb, and now Gagliano and Cativo out. And that immediately makes things... There's a few less candidates for that last point spot. In fact, it looks like Lebao might be a little bit safer in that. Could it be a first point for him and Magnum Motorsports this afternoon?
But don't count out Victor Biedeno. It says he's one lap back, but...
He's just been lapped. We can see on screen. There he is. And he's just stopped again on lap 36. And he's running the medium tyres, I believe. But he's going to have fresher tyres, so we'll see if he can... When Pascal Poland's just ducking out, probably to avoid any contact there. But the gap hovering between these two and Lucas Murno at around 11-12 seconds at the minute.
I have some very interesting news that I just got from race control. Gino Gagliano is out due to a brake issue, front left. Cativo also brake issue, rear left. And we've seen a few hairy moments on the brakes as well. So Pushkir might also be in danger with the brakes. Benton Reader, he had a few moments on the brakes into turn 1 as well. And Peckley, he also had a very odd moment on the brakes when he spun out, but that might also have been the curb. But still, the brakes seem to be a big issue here today. And yeah, this could also be a factor in these last 16 laps.
Very interesting. You know, this is one of the interesting parts of this competition, that every single team has not just the design philosophy, but they have to have staff and parts and brakes causing issues for two separate teams, it seems. And yeah, as you know, there's been a couple of hairy moments this afternoon. Has cost Gagliano and Cativo a shot at points. And Denny Bella and teammate Daniel Benson Reader, again, solid performances for Beta Julia. They look to have their second consecutive double points finish. There's about 6 seconds between Vela, though, and Alexander Knežević. We'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, Puška in. He came in on lap 21 to change to super softs. I imagine he's going to switch to another set for this final 16-17 lap push. That looks like the red sidewall tyres it is. It looks like he's going to come out ahead of both Vela and Knežević. Smart move for him. Benson Reed ahead is on the medium tyres. I imagine he's not going to stop again. It might be a 5th place this afternoon for Puška, but we'll see how much he can eat into that gap.
Yeah, and Puška, he was only in a few laps earlier than Volborn and Poland's.
I wonder if that is thinking about covering off Knežević, or if he's just thinking that the tyres were gone, or...
God,
felt like
hard to say, but I think he should be able to close the gap to Benton Reader once more, because his mediums will be quite old. And Puška can really push now. Pun not intended.
It's interesting, they only stopped about 3 laps apart, their first stop. And obviously Benton Reader going for the medium. So Puška obviously feeling he had a better chance to stop and repass with the super softs.
Yeah, and don't forget, there's also the fastest lap competition, which is worth a cash prize at the end of the season for the driver who, scores the most fastest lap.
And there we have confirmation from both Kativo and Gagiano in chat there about their shared misfortune of broken brakes. We were very entertaining this afternoon, guys. There was a lot of on-track action. Sorry to see how it ended for you both.
Now the gap at the front is shrinking. Murno has brought that gap that was almost 13 seconds down to 10.4.
At the minute, a 1/10 of a second quicker, Lucas Murno, than top pairing.
And Poland is in the pits. There it is. That is the second pit stop for Pascal Polans, and surely Volborn will come in as well. And this is going to be very, very interesting. He will come out in 3rd, I'm pretty sure of that. But then how quick can he close the gap to Lucas Murno?
So now it's gone from Murno having super softs that are about 9-10 laps fresher, to Poland's having super softs that are, I think, 7 laps fresher. So, as you can see, Murno was being held at arm's length with that tyre offset. Will Poland's be able to shut the gap? It's going to be really interesting to see. The question is, does this mean Volborn is following suit, or are they splitting strategies to see what the drop-off's like? We'll find out in the next couple of laps, I think. Meantime, Matheus Machado in and out on super softs, running 10th. He managed 9th last time out. It was his best ever finish in WMSC, and Potenz's best ever finish. And once again, he's going to get another top 10, just staying out of the way, keeping his nose clean. If anyone falls to collision or a bit of bad luck ahead, still a chance. First points this afternoon, maybe, but he's going to need a bit of luck, and Volborn is in. So they have pulled the trigger. Murno is already into the lead as the car is dropped, and I think, unless I've seen mistaken an Infernal Void car, that might be Poland's passed as well. Oh no, it is an Infernal Void car. So they come back out in position, but very sensibly. I mean, there's just extra safety there from Victor B, I think that was.
Oh, that is a DNF. There is black smoke coming out of the car.
Or is it? Okay, is it just dirty?
Very, very dirty. off track there. Sorry for the confusion I caused that.
I don't know. Yeah, it did look very dark for just smoke off the grass, but or dirt being kicked off, I should say. But yeah, not. Victor B is okay, still running in ninth and hoping for a bit of luck of his own to maybe scrape a point this afternoon. Oh, maybe still got a bit of dirt on his tyres from that excursion. But here we go. This is now the set. We've got about 14 laps to go. The gap is 11.2 seconds between Lucas Murno and Yannis Volborn. We assume that Murno is running to the end. Can he manage the gap and pick up his first ever win? As B seems to be struggling with something there.
Yeah,
really.
brakes. I think that is the brakes as well. Also, yeah, Gino just told us in the chat as well. It looks like a brake failure as well. So that could be the end of the road for Victor B here as well.
So both Infernal Void struggling with brake issues this afternoon. Yeah, like you say, is Philip Pushka going to be at risk this afternoon as well in the other SCMM car? In the meantime, Thomas Raschke's in. Is he just doing a stopper? Hopefully he's not going to be retiring. It looks like he's just made a stop on the Super Softs, and hopefully that is him to the end of the race. We have a yellow in Sector 1. I think B has stayed out. And B is out. Victor B retires, and brake failure now hitting both Infernal Void cars. No points for them again this afternoon. That's such a shame. In the meantime, Denny Vella is in.
Yeah, sorry for starting to laugh there.
It was
very
just
funny shot with the camera.
It was a very like office like the Office style sort of pan and zoom to Victor B in the wall. Denny Vella out. Obviously, he's going to stick on the Super Softs. And like you mentioned before it all kicked off, there is a cash prize for fastest lap at the end of the season. Round 1, Reuven Meshida got the fastest lap of the race. So there's a few here thinking, oh, well, you know what? Let's get fastest lap if the tyres aren't going to last. I think Knezovic was bearing down on Vella. And Yannis Volborn now sets a fastest lap of the race, a 1 minute 29.9. The gap is down to 9.3 seconds. They are unlocking at a bit of extra pace. And Volborn is now laying down the gauntlet. He's dropped his teammate from DRS. He's going to try and push to take his second race win of the year. Can Lucas Murno?
I think this is going to be very tight, but Volborn might be able to make it. But then, of course, remember, brakes seem to be a big issue here today. If he overdoes it, he can easily end like B, Cativo, Gagiano, all of the others before. Fernando Labau, in the meantime, has been in for another time, and now with B out behind him, he should be on course for the first points for Magnum.
It'll be really interesting. Can Volborn keep this pace up? Because obviously, oh, wow! And there's a big slide from Mateus Machado there. Hopefully that's not a brake issue for him as well.
Especially he's running in 9th once again, and as soon as someone ahead of them retires, that could also be the first points for Potenza Esport.
Incredibly high attrition rate this afternoon.
In the end, it might also be Raschke who takes a point here in the car of Mark Jordan.
Philip Pushka running in 5th, trying to hunt down Daniel Benton Reader. Less than 5 seconds between them now. And it is now just a question for both Pushka and Volborn if their Super Softs can keep their life in them, the time left, and then make the pass.
Yeah, Volborn is almost gaining a second a lap.
The thing is, how fresh will those tyres be by the time he gets up to Murno? Splitting strategy, though. Keeping things interesting at the front. Philip Pushka looking to try and get into 4th place this afternoon ahead of Benton Reader, who will be looking at his 2nd consecutive 4th if he can hold on. But yeah, it's regardless of what happens this afternoon, Lucas Murno, who before his previous best result was 3rd place in Belgium last year, he's only had 1 podium, scored a total of 51 points last season. The fact that he's now stepped up to be fighting for the race win today, it's an incredible performance from him, it has to be said.
Yeah, Murno, he has been super strong last season as well. We didn't have that big expectations from him, but he is still the one holding the record for the most consecutive points finishes in the WMSC, because ever since the 3rd race of last season, Murno has finished in the points. And this season was off to a great start for him as well. Remember, he was battling Meshede for a podium in Melbourne as well. So, yeah, he will most likely be on the podium here today. Can't imagine Benton Reader or Pushka catching him. And he has really taken the fight to Holland Racing Team, on merit, that is. He was almost taking the lead away from Yanis Wolborn when there was this scrap between the 3 of them. So he's really there on merit today.
Absolutely. Fine qualifying performance, stayed with them during the race. Still a chance, but Wolborn at the minute is eating into that gap. Incredible turn of pace from the reigning champion. I'm Murno. A little bit of traffic, he'll want to clear that as soon as possible. Does so, and there is the gap between 1st and 2nd.
Something must have happened to Poland's. The gap between Wolborn and Poland's is up to 8.1 seconds, so that is odd. Lebau into the pits once again.
I wonder why that is.
I mean, he has 74 seconds on Machado, so should be fine still.
So the gap in the last lap was about 9/10 of a second. So the gap is still coming down, but the amount that is coming down per lap has just decreased slightly. Could be those fine margins that make all the difference. In the end, Murno just has to keep pushing.
Yeah, also Yanis's lap times are getting a bit slower. And we've seen this last year, that Wolborn had a couple of occasions where he over-pushed those tires early and then was struggling towards the end of a stint. So he is catching Murno big time right now, but he will still have to make it on these tires. And this is probably what happened to Poland's. Oh!
Is he having some form of issue, I wonder?
Oh, that could also be the brakes.
Because, yeah, his last lap was 5 seconds slower than his teammate. I think there might be a brake issue for Pascal Polands. And, yeah, look at how early he's having to slow for turn 1. He's going to try and have to nurse this home. So there's 20 seconds to him and Benton Reader, 25-ish between him and Pushka. It might be close for him getting on the podium. And to be honest, there's nothing to say that this won't affect the top 2 either.
Yeah, especially since Wolborn is pushing like hell in this last stint. Let's watch the gap between Poland's and Benton Reader. Would also be a first podium for Benton Reader. And that would be well deserved.
An incredible start to the season. His previous best finish was 5th in Monaco last year.
Which he did from being last in turn 1.
Yeah. Obviously, he's already gone one better this season with 4th last time out. You go one better again, he might be handed an opportunity. And let's see, he's flicked to being on board with Yanis Volbon. I was going to say he's a bit more aggressive on the brakes, and that is because we are now with the man hunting down for the win.
Oh, this is just a fantastic race with those different strategies playing out now.
Just can Yanis make it work? Remember in the very first race last season, Australia, he did an extra stop. He was hunting down the top two. Try and get the win. He didn't make it work that day. Could he this afternoon? Pushing as hard as he can. There's no traffic really for either of them now. The next car that Lucas Murner will come up to is the 7th place Denny Vella, and I don't think he's in any particular danger just yet, so it's clear road for both of them.
More good news for Cesario. Pushka seems to have brake issues as well, just like Pascal Polens. Knez has been gaining, Pushka has been dropping back from Benton Rida ever since that second pit stop. He was 4 seconds back from Benton Rida, and yeah, they're both very cautious on the brakes.
We've never seen anything like this in terms of the brake issues this afternoon. Obviously, it's affected both SCMMs, both Infernal Voids, one of the Holland team cars. And it's not like the temperatures are super high, ambient 22, track temperature of 20. It's been hotter in many other races. Might just be the nature of the track, and like we say, might be the brake supply these teams have picked. But yeah, can't believe the amount of brake problems we're seeing across the different teams this afternoon.
Should be interesting for Monza.
I think there might be some upgrades coming on between now and then.
Yeah,
I have
hopefully.
to say, the only upgrades that were brought were by Optiminal, who unfortunately effectively didn't participate, and then Infernal Void, who focused on tyre wear this time around, which, they were both undermined by other issues. But, yeah, Alexander Knezovic pulling in very quickly indeed. I imagine Philip Pushka isn't going to push. Sorry, I did the same pun that you did. He's not going to fight this too hard. Let's go with that. And as you can see, he's having to go really wide. And he's been very sensible there indeed and just let Knezovic go. The gap now 22 seconds back to Vella.
I was wondering, yeah, just received... Oh, that is a big off, and that might be into the wall.
Oh, he seems to still be... I don't know if he made contact. He's still going.
Yeah, Benton Rida also brake problems. Kneza might be on P4 finish here. Because the gap's also not shrinking between Poland and Benton Rida.
I was just about to say this. I was like, how is Benton Rida not eating into it? And he's...
21, that is big problem for Benton Rida.
So Knezovic is now going to be trying to attack Benton Rida. Is it going to be too much for him to get past Poland's as well? I don't know. I really hope he doesn't have brake problems as well, but oh my goodness. So Knezovic now potentially trying to charge for a podium. Murno, in the meantime, the gap between him and Volborn down to 2.6. It's still roughly a second a lap. The last times Murno 131.1. Oh no, it's actually come down quite a lot, 130.3, so it's about 0.8 of a second now. Still quite a deficit though. And Volborn is going to keep pushing, and we see Pushka in the background, and he's out. Oh, and he's just not been able to manage it, and the bad luck from Philip Pushka continues, which means Weller will look to inherit 6th. Could this be first points for Mateus Machado and Potenza Esports?
I think it will be. He just needs to do 2 more laps and he's an 8th.
Remarkable to think that Rashka is going to finish 9th in this race just keeping his nose clean. The attrition rate is unbelievable.
He's now only 6 seconds back from Benton Reader. He will surely get him this or next lap. And Giannis is still pushing.
There we go. We can see them. It's going to be really interesting. It's the DRS zone of 1 second. It's going to huge moment. It's going to be so close.
Oh, Murdo's off.
Is Murno having the same problem? Or was that just a mistake under pressure? We'll see in the next couple of corners.
Yeah, no,
It's brakes.
Oh, my word.
It must be brakes, surely. I cannot believe it. And yeah,
it's the
brakes. Lucas Murno now. He's got 30 seconds between him and Pascal Poland. It's going to be...
Machado's in the pits right now.
Machado's retired! I don't believe it. How many laps back is...
Machado? I think he just would have needed to make it round turn 1, and he would have been in 8th.
I cannot believe this.
That means Rashka
So he
will be scoring a point.
He needs to just nurse it home, because there's still enough laps left, I believe, for him to overturn, because I think he was 2 laps down on Pushka and Machado. So I think all he needs to do is survive to the end of the race, and he will take, incredibly, the last points position. As Knežević now... Yeah, Benton Reed, there's not much he can do there. I think he needs to defend, So
the only cars that are not suffering from brake issues, at least that we know of, is Thomas Rashke, who is running in 10th. Fernando Lebao, we don't know about him, but he's been not that quick either lately. Danny Well, I think he's still fine. Knežević and Wilborn. Look. Okay, I think
that might be a break. That was a very interesting slow for one. That might be a brake issue as well.
I think he was early on the brakes as well. Yeah.
So Lebao's got the issue. So Walborn, at the minute, is the only person who doesn't seem to have a brake issue, but he has dropped right off the pace. He was doing 131s. Now his last lap was a 133.6. Is that him taking the foot off the gas, or is that brakes? I can't tell.
But this might also just be making sure that he finishes this race. Because there's no need to push now anymore.
Knowing what's going on up and down the grid, he just needs to hang on. But Knežević now, 25 seconds to him and Poland's. I think it might be too little too late for him there. But obviously it's not beyond Knežević having these issues either. It's a remarkable afternoon in Bahrain. Knežević.
Now, when did Pushka retire? Is there enough time left for Rashka to overtake him?
I'm not sure.
There he is, and Pushka crashed out in turn 1, so this might be the moment now. But we see Rashka moving into the points. Is it? Yes!
It is!
There it is!
Absolutely incredible. Thomas Rashka subbing in for Mark Jordan, who scored points on his debut last time, will take that same seat to a point this afternoon. And Velocita Virtuale will score points 2 races in a row.
Well, things have been terrible for Benton Reed off the road once again.
Wow, and he's dropped a lot of time. He's now all the way back behind his teammate now. I think everyone's just trying to nurse it home very slowly.
Yeah.
This is insane.
That might be the craziest race I've ever watched.
And you can see Volborn taking it easy now. We'll have to ask him post-race if he's just being careful or if he's also got the same issues. But up until the brake issues, a really fascinating race with split strategies and Lucas Murno seemingly rising to the occasion for Scuderia Cesario to take the fight the Holland Racing Team. But it's not enough. Yannis Volborn wins back-to-back races. And it's a perfect 100% start continued for the reigning champion. Lucas Murno, though, his second ever podium and his best ever finish in WMSC. A fine, fine drive. Such a shame that we couldn't see the full fight play out to the end. Brakes getting in the way. In the meantime, Pascal Polens having to manage a brake issue for a much longer period of time towards the end, and he will hang on for a second consecutive podium.
Well done for him to manage that. I think his brake issue occurred at the same time that Pushka's did. Pushka did not finish this race. Poland's finishes on the podium. And what a comeback by this man, Alexander Knazovic. He might be the only car that has not suffered from brake issues all race long. He finishes 4th. Well done to Knazer. And fantastic race for Scuderia Cesario, 2nd and 4th.
The one study his left foot to how his brakes are still okay. Denny Vella, in the meantime, continuing. Solid start for Better Julia, this time finishing ahead of his teammate, it has to be said, Daniel Benton Reader, at one point on for a podium. Actually been passed by Labau, who's unlapped himself, so he's not lost the position. But Labau, first points for himself, and Magnum Motorsports, a stunning result. Rashka, second points for Velocito, and first points personally. An excellent work from the sub, and incredibly, that's your lot. Only 8 cars finish this race from
Yeah,
an
that
18
is well
that took
deserved,
the start.
Well deserved donuts for Rashka.
Incredible.
Oh.
We will look to get the top 3 in to discuss that insane race.
Little correction there. I think Di Wella also made it without brake issues. Because he was still going okay to the end.
Already, I can tell you in the WMSC Discord, questions being asked.
Yeah, I'm sure this will be investigated. What is the issue there?
Because, it's a point raised by Reuven Meshida. Is it the brakes of the car being too weak, or has everyone just not prioritised that area of the car, not thinking it would be an issue? Be really interesting to find out. But we'll find out in the coming weeks between now and the next round. But for now, let's get provisional results of the race. And it is a second consecutive win for Yannis Volborn and Holland Racing Team. An incredibly engaging afternoon as brilliant team play of Holland Racing Team versus Lucas Murno, the split strategies. In the end, brake issues nullifying the challenge from Murno and Polens, who finished 2nd and 3rd respectively. Alexander Knezovic, a solid qualifying, a poor start, but a brilliant recovery, making his way through the pack to finish 4th ahead of the 2 Better Julias, who get their 2nd consecutive double points finish. First ever points for João Fernando Labau and Magnum Motorsports. First ever points for Thomas Rashka, a 2nd consecutive points finish for Velocita Virtuale. Philip Pushka, his bad luck continues. It looked like he was on for another solid race result, but then this time brakes attacking him. Mateus Machado out for Potenza Esports, just missing out on first points. And then we look at the graveyard that is the rest of this race. Victor B, Gino Gajano, Gonzalez Cativo, all out with brake issues, Peckley out after contact with the wall, Engels, Quercio, Beerhoff, and then Meshida and Hauk effectively DNSs due to various issues. So we will get top three in with us shortly. But in a couple of weeks' time, the next race is at Barcelona, which is thankfully not warm and doesn't have any braking zones, so I'm sure everything will be fine. They definitely need to investigate the issue. We'll see now and then.
This will also be the first new venue that we'll be racing at this season. Last year, our race in Spain took place at the Jerez circuit. That was quite an exciting one back then. Let's see how Barcelona will play out. Well, let's ask a difficult question, Ash. Who is your driver of the day?
Driver of the day. It's a really tough one. I think it's got to go to Lucas Murno. You could. I mean, I don't think. Janis Volborn's undeserving of the win. He drove fantastically, but the fact that before this race, Murno hadn't been on this level before, and today it feels like he's taken a big step up to be fighting with them. Still don't know if he'd have won the race without the brake issues because the pace from Volborn was incredible in that final stint. But for me, it's got to be Lucas Murno on making that big step off this afternoon. What about you? Would you agree with that, or do you think Volborn has just been faultless again?
No, I fully agree with you. And now we have.
Yes, we have the top three in with us, and we will start with the race winner. Yanis, congratulations once again. A really fascinating race with the split strategies and the brake issues up and down the grid. My first question is, towards the end, did you have a brake issue, or were you just nursing the car home to make sure you didn't get any issues?
Yeah, I didn't had brake issues, and I just nursed at home.
Fair enough.
To make sure that I can cross the finish line first.
That's understandable, seeing what was happening to the rest of the field. Interesting split of strategy this afternoon. Was it always the plan to do a two-stop, or did you kind of make the judgment upon seeing the pace of Lucas?
Yeah, we wanted to do the two-stop, but saw with the medium tire that our pace was actually quite okay still, but yeah, also the wear was good and the deck from the temps, so we could have extended, but yeah, we decided to go for the two-stop.
And obviously, before Lucas suffered his issues, you were charging him down. How much life do you still feel like you had in those tyres? Do you think you would have been able to challenge if Lucas had been unaffected, or it would have been quite close?
I think I would have made it. My tires were still good, but yeah, still could have been close. But yeah, the end all came different than we all thought.
No, of course. And another excellent performance, though, Yanis. Very well done. Congratulations. Lucas, congratulations on your best ever finish in WMSC, beating your third from last year. Coming into the race, were you expecting to be as close to the Holland racing team guys as you were?
To be honest, not. I didn't expect it to be that next to AJT, but quite happy at all because we had a good pace, we had a good tire management, we could have a good one, but I think one way that contributed for the brake issue was the fact that it was in the dirty air of two cars, and that contributed a little bit much. But yeah, the brakes were quite unexpected to happen, but yeah, it's a good result for the team, good result for me as well. I'm quite happy with the pace. I'm really proud with how far we could after some issues with the beginning of the season, but we are on a better season and a better beginning. So I believe it's gonna be a good a good vision for us, and the next race is gonna be more calibrated and more next between HRT, Optimino, and probably Cesario, I guess.
No, absolutely, and I think even with the way the last race ended, and obviously a bit of bad luck for your teammate in the first race, both of you still showed a lot of promising pace and have delivered on that with a brilliant result this afternoon. I think your team boss said it was the best team result for Cesario in the WMSC, which is fantastic. Like you say, you hoping that this is going to be your level from now on, or do you think it's track based, or do you think you'll be able to continue fighting at this level as the season continues?
Gonna depend of the every track because the car is having some kind of they forgot the word for
Yeah,
I just forgot that, but
yeah.
behavior. You're
Yes.
gonna have a different behavior from each way of the trucks because each thing is most of them was like high downforce or medium downforce of philosophy teams. So it's gonna be different ways and different forces, but I think the most constant field is what we see in the beginning of the season and some surprises in each track, and we have to be ready for that.
No, absolutely, and it's been a brilliant start to the season for both you and Scuderia Cesario. So, congratulations on that second place today,
Thank you.
Pascal. Another fine race for you. Unfortunately, similar to Lucas, ended early by the brake issues. Um, your performance was really solid this afternoon. Up until the brake issues, were you happy with how things were going?
Well, I think I did all right, considering that I had damage from turn one, because
Okay.
Benton Reader sent it from, I don't know, maybe Qatar or Saudi Arabia. But yeah, apart from that, I think the pace was really good, and yeah, we would have gotten a 1-2 maybe if I didn't had to be in the DRS of Janis all the time to get some decent pace out of the car. So yeah, but still, good pace even on a track like this. It's going to get better, I guess.
And to be fair, that is a testament to yourself as well, because you couldn't tell from the outset that you were nursing damage from turn one. So yeah, I think it's a very fine performance indeed. Just your thoughts on the brake issues. Obviously, we've seen a lot of that. I'm guessing this has caught you off guard. Was this a concern before the race, or is it a big surprise that there's been brake failures for yourself and so many across the grid?
In testing, we saw that the brakes are getting quite hot. So we opened up the brake cooling to the maximum. But yeah, it seems like it wasn't enough, even on a quite cool day in Bahrain. So yeah, it was quite surprising for us because the brakes were less warm than last season, and apparently the brakes didn't even change. So yeah, we don't really know what to make out of that.
Yeah, it was very surprising for us as well because, yeah, as you mentioned, it didn't seem particularly hot. There's definitely been hotter races. I know Bahrain does have a reputation of being quite warm, but quite cool considering. So, yeah, very surprising. I'm sure it will be investigated before the next race. But yeah, once again, congratulations to yourself and the team. Another really solid result. And congratulations again to Yanis and Lucas as well. Robin, I feel like I threw you a hospital pass last time saying, how do you sum up the race we've just seen? But today was a whole other level of crazy. I don't know if there's any other word you can use for it.
Yeah, I'm already a bit scared of what will happen at the next one if that is the level that we're going at. But yeah, there is no real way to sum it up. You probably just have to watch the VOD on YouTube that will be out tomorrow, I think. Yeah, but what a crazy race, and yeah, already looking forward to the next one in 2 weeks' time in Barcelona.
Absolutely, really looking forward to that. Congratulations to again the podium sitters and the points finishers, especially to the debutantes in the points this afternoon, Magnum Motorsports and Labau, and of course Thomas Rashke, the last-minute sub for Velocita. An incredible result. Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. on what has been a remarkable race in a way that I don't think anyone could have predicted. Dare you try and predict what happens in Catalonia? The only way is to come and find out. Hope you'll see us then. Thank you very much.